Yeah. So again, good morning for the ones who come, for the ones who have come. I know that there are some people who are coming. They will be arriving in a few minutes. And I can't offer you coffee in real life, so I'm offering you a cup of coffee in that slide over there. So we can all wake up and get ready, right? Okay. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, it's not a very big room, so it's okay. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, I'll say this from now on, right? If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to express yourself, all right? So the topic of the presentation today is embedding the 21st century skills in our classroom. First question is, what do I know about the 21st century skills? It's a hard question. Okay, right. Can anyone tell me what the 21st century skills are? No? Technology. What else?
Technology and education.
Technology in education? Okay, right. Anything else?
Maybe new books.
Okay, thank you. Right, okay. So, all right. So before we talk about the 21st century skills themselves, I want to talk about something else, right? I want to start with you. All right? Okay. You and me, we're going to have this conversation together. All right? Take a look at this picture. Yeah? Okay. So let's say this is what I used to do when I was a kid. This is me, right? So I was playing outside. I was barefoot. There was this feeling of safety, so there was no problem with me just walking around and running with my friends all day long, right? Today, we see kids, most of the time they are confined in enclosed spaces. Most of the time in a shopping mall, right? So while the parents are shopping, they leave the kids at some daycare at the mall, playing there. They get distracted, they get tired too. So when parents come and pick them up, they just drive them home and they are already sleeping in the car, and they get home and they go straight to bed, right? Okay, so there is, what they do today is sort of limited to the space where they are and to the resources they have. One of the things that happens in places like this is that they get all the input. They get all the stimulus they can get, right? From the lights, from the people working there, from the instructions they get, from all the toys, from the attractions. They get everything done for them. They don't get to create anything new. They don't get to think about what they need to do in order to entertain themselves. When we played on the streets, we had to think about, now we're going to play hide and seek, and then we're going to play catch, and then we got to figure out something else to do. Right? In this place, you go from one attraction to the next, and you get all the input. No wonder why they are exhausted at the end of the day. It's so much input, it's exhausting. Right? Okay. This is what I had when I was a kid. Does that look familiar to you? Yeah? Did you play with that? Did you? Yeah? Okay. What happens with kids today? Kids and teens. Right. Can you name a game that is very popular nowadays? Candy Crush? Right. How about this guy over here?
Oh yeah, Pokemon Go, yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon Go. Right. Okay. Is everybody familiar with Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Did you see people on the streets hunting for Pokemons all the time? Getting distracted? Almost getting hit by buses? Yeah. Running into you all the time because they were just so distracted looking down. They just forgot that there were people around them that they could hit with their phones.
Or people being robbed.
Or people being robbed. Right? They get extremely distracted. But that's not even... Okay, so let me just tell you this. This is so last year. This year, the big thing was Zelda. Right? Actually, this is not actually this is from this year, but Zelda is actually an old character in the Nintendo world. Can anyone? Yeah, in the Nintendo world. So Zelda has been reborn. right? And now this is the newest thing. This is the coolest thing, right? Okay, this is how we made friends. We had to go out, right? We had to meet people, and we had to talk to them in order to really make friends. What happens without the cell phone? Exactly. What happens nowadays? Where do you meet people?
Facebook.
Hmm?
Facebook.
Let's see. Facebook?
Playing games, they
Yeah.
get connected by the game.
Yes, with online games as well. But how do you make friends now? Here we have 3 examples. Which one is this one? Here. Facebook. Instagram. Which one is this one? Snapchat. Yeah. Okay. So, do you actually meet people in real life? Do you meet them in person? No. Right? Okay. So, in a way, it makes our horizons broader because we can get to meet people from different countries. Right? But what is the level of depth in those relationships? 0. Right? And if not, very little. Right? Okay, so it's actually sort of difficult to really figure out, through social media, it's actually really difficult to figure out what people are actually thinking. Let's say, some people say that you've met people like this before, probably. People who have probably 2,000 connections on Facebook, 2,500 connections, 5,000 connections on Facebook. How many of these people are their real friends? 2? 3? 5 tops? Right? So we're talking about a generation that is most concerned about numbers rather than the depth of those relationships. And that's an issue, right? That's a problem. Okay, so here, this is a bit of a reflection of what it was, what it used to be, and what it is today, right? Let's talk about learning. Let's talk about how we learned. Anyone familiar with this?
Yes.
Yeah? Everybody smiled. What happened there? What is that? It's a mimeographer, right? Okay, I remember the smell of the copies. We got addicted right there. We got addicted to the smell of the copies. Do you remember the alcohol and the color? It was purple, right? It was a purple, kind of blue, something between blue and purple. But it was the smell that got us hooked. We got addicted to that. I remember the teaching making copies at the back of the room, and we could all smell it. It was really insane. All right, okay. Then we got a few years ahead. We got this. What is that? It's an overhead projector. Right, okay. I gotta say, this was amazing. We had all the content ready on the screen. The teacher didn't have to write anything, so it saved a lot of time. But let me ask you this, was it effective? No. How many of you fell asleep during the class when the teacher used an overhead projector? I did. I'll admit it. I fell asleep during the class, right? Okay, it is effective for the teacher because it was very practical, but at the same time, complicated, right? Okay, so let's see. A few years ahead, we started using computers to prepare our lessons. That was great. It was amazing. It was practical. We could save it, right? We could print it, and we could just give it to the students. It was amazing, a lifesaver. And we also had our database for lesson plans and activities, right? And then we go ahead, just a few years ahead. Because this is actually very nice, but it's not actually very practical because we cannot get this unit and carry it with us all the time, right? So what happened there? We went a few years ahead and we started using smaller devices, smaller portable devices that saved our lives. Actually, I skipped the laptop there. But this can actually be used as a laptop too. So it's a tablet, right? We can actually use a tablet. And our students can actually benefit from devices like this. Does anyone know what this is? No? These are VR goggles. Glasses for virtual reality. Right? You can actually make one with your students. Make a little project and make one with your students. You can buy one as well. It's not expensive. If you Google it, you can actually find goggles like this for very reasonable prices, and you can actually work on virtual reality projects with your students, right? So remember the mimeographer. See how much has been done since then? Okay, so this is for the resources that we had. What about the teacher? The next picture I'm going to show you is from I Google, literally, teacher in the 70s. Okay? So in the 70s, teachers look like this. Yeah. Yeah. Right? Teachers look like this. Right? So what is that? What can we tell? First of all, she was sitting down, right? Behind the desk. Probably away from the students. Right? Like where I am right now. Right? So I'm far away from you. Right? So there was this clear distance and relationship of authority. I am the one who sets the rules. I am the one who will show you the content. You're the guys who have to figure it out what to do with it. But that's my job, and that's how it's going to be. I'm the one who's going to tell you what to do. Okay, then a few years later, the teacher stood up. Right? And she went to she started working on with a blackboard, writing on the board, right? And here she is. She's up and she's on the board, right? But still, she's away from the students. A bit closer. The fact that she stood up, kind of the barrier that used to be the desk doesn't exist anymore, right? But she's here and the students are there, right? A few years later, does anyone know who this guy is? Yeah? Who is he? What's his name?
I don't remember.
Beekman.
Yeah,
Beekman. Yeah. Okay. So this was something between the 80s and the 90s, right? And television producers discovered it was actually fun to have that kind of show, which is actually educational and fun at the same time. Beekman was a funny character. He was a mad scientist, as you could see. And he had two helpers, a lab rat called Lester and an assistant called Rosie. But they were crazy as hell, right? But what they did was they used real objects and made experiments to have students understand the scientific concepts that they were trying to teach. And it was actually easy to understand. They did it with shoe boxes and carts and they built big models of little things, right? There is actually one episode which is actually my favorite, and I like to talk about it because it sort of illustrates what they were capable of doing. Beekman was trying to explain the concept of dreams, why and how people dream, right? And he actually said like this: life is like a supermarket. And they built like huge shelves with products on both sides, and he walked between the shelves pushing a little stroller. And he said, as you go through life, you acquire experiences. And then he started getting boxes from here and there. So it's like filling your cart with boxes. It was like going through life and accumulating experience, right? What happens is that your brain processes the information, processes those experiences, and they become your dreams, right? But it was important to understand the process of going through life and acquiring experience. In fact, at the end of the show, he proposes an experiment for the people watching. He says, you can actually program yourself to dream about what you want to dream. So let's say, when you are about to go to bed at night, think about what you want to dream about. For example, I want to dream about traveling. So before I go to bed, as I'm getting ready for bed, as I'm brushing my teeth, I'm getting ready, putting on my PJs, I start thinking about what traveling makes me feel, what I like about it, why I'm so happy when I travel, right? And as I fall asleep, those thoughts come into my go into my mind, and I dream about it. It's actually, and it works.
Does it work?
It does. It might not work right away. It requires training. Because everything in life, like learning English, like learning how to ride a bicycle, it requires training. Right? It might not work right away, but it does. It truly does. Right? Trust me, I did it. It worked. Okay. So then, moving a little later on in the future, more to our day here, to our time here today, the teacher is no longer away from the students. Take a look at this, and take a look at this. Not only they're sitting together, right? They're sitting side by side, and they are sharing something. They're sharing a screen, right? Not only that, the relationship has changed too, because the teacher once, who was the one who had the content, who had the authority, who knew the rules, is no longer this figure of authority, in the sense that now they sit together and they talk about it and they share knowledge. How many times have your students taught you something? Right? I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. A student of mine taught me how to use Snapchat. I had no idea how to use it. Right? So we no longer detain all the knowledge of the content, because they teach us as well. So it's not a process of, it's not simply something vertical, in the sense that the teacher is here and the student is here. Now they are side by side and they are sharing experience and they are sharing knowledge. Right? And they become the teachers. And let's face it, they love it when they become the teachers. They love it when they come to the board. They love it when they come to the front and they present something they are really passionate about. So that's a great experience, and it's very rich. So
this is the real education, because education is exchanging. I'm not the teacher and the student. The student teaches me, and I teach the student.
Exactly.
So when there is this exchanging of knowledge, that's the real education.
That's real learning.
Nowadays.
Yes,
Learning,
that's real
yes.
learning. Exactly. That's actually one of the things that we're going to talk about in a minute, right? Okay. So let's see. What used to look like this. Does this look familiar to you?
Yes.
Yeah? What used to look like this changed. And now we're going to see students like this little guy here. I'm going to show you this video, and while this is a little video, and while I show you this video, I want you to take a look at his hands. Okay? Observe what he's doing. See? Did you see what he was doing? See his hands? He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly where to go. He knew exactly where to click, how to select the video that he wanted to watch, right? He wasn't even, and at that point, he didn't even speak. He barely spoke. He said blah, 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 little things here and there. He didn't know how to say mama at the time. I think it was 1 or approaching 1. So he was very young, but at that point, he knew exactly what he was doing. So what can we say from this video? They're getting very digital at a very, very, very young age, right? So, okay, so they're getting digital. That's great. They're detaining, they have this sort of knowledge that we didn't have, but at the same time, what to do with it? Because what is the worth of me being 100% digital if I don't know what to do with it, right? This is a reflection of what you may see in the classroom as well, because of that phenomenon. Take a look at this kid. See what he's saying? Where's the spell check? Right? So, what kind of knowledge does he have, and what kind of knowledge doesn't he have? How about this guy? Possessive pronouns? iPod, your pod, their pod? Right? Okay. How about this one? Just your name would be fine. It is saying, @Tommy, #unfair. Right? Okay, so they detain the knowledge. They know about the technology. They know how to use it. Right? Okay, they just don't know what to do with it. So this is an issue, right? Or that we can putting into the future we got to think about. Let's say here, tell me jobs that exist today that didn't exist 10 years ago.
10 years.
Can you give me examples of jobs that exist today that didn't exist 10 years ago? Game planners? What else?
Computer engineer?
Sorry?
No, computer engineer, no. Someone who make the games.
Gamers?
The games.
Game developers.
Yeah, game developers.
Okay. Yeah, that could be. What else?
Social media. Yeah, people who develop a social media.
Social media developers. Okay. Yeah. Right? Okay.
Or
What
the
else?
people who manage the social media.
Social media managers. What else?
Digital marketing.
Digital marketing. Okay. Bloggers, YouTubers. What else? Yeah? Okay, so you see the kind of jobs we're talking about. Most of the jobs are, if not all of the jobs that you're talking about, involve technology, right? But not just that. I want you to take a look at this video now. This is from Mikio Kaku. He's the name sounds Japanese because he's Japanese descendant, but he's actually an American physicist. And he talks about, and he has great videos where he talks about the future of humanity and how to integrate technology into our lives as well. So I want you to take a look at this video because
His name is Mikio.
I'll show you. Kaku. Yeah. So I want you to watch this video, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, okay?
It turns out the jobs of the future will be those jobs that cannot be done by artificial intelligence and robots. And there are huge gaps in what a robot can do. Robots have very bad eyesight. They see lines, circles, squares, but they don't understand that these lines, circles, squares make up a face, or a chair, or a cup. Pattern recognition is one of the big problems. Second, common sense. They don't understand the simplest things about human behavior, about the world. They don't know that water is wet. They don't know that screens can pull, that screens cannot push. So the two jobs that will thrive in the future and the two sets of jobs that will be destroyed are as follows. Among blue-collar jobs, repetitive jobs are going to be obliterated. This means jobs in the automobile industry, textile industry that are very repetitive are in danger. Non-repetitive jobs in blue-collar work will thrive. Garbage men, sanitation people, gardeners, police, construction workers. Every job is different. They will survive. In white-collar work, it defies common sense. The people who will be thrown out of work are middlemen, low-level accountants, bookkeepers, agents, tellers, middlemen. The friction of capitalism are going to be obliterated. So who will benefit among white-collar workers? workers who engage in intellectual capitalism. What is intellectual capitalism? It involves common sense. In other words, creativity, imagination, leadership, analysis, telling a joke, writing a script, writing a book, doing science. Realize that England, said Tony Blair, derives more revenue from rock music than it does the coal industry. Because we're making a transition from commodity-based capital like coal to intellectual capital like rock and roll.
So see what happened there. So we're talking about there is this need for a growing use of technology, right? But at the same time, there is also this need for more, and he said it in the video, common sense, right? And technology does not teach us common sense because technology does not know common sense, right? So this is something that came to light when technology became this huge phenomenon and it literally dominated our lives, our personal lives, our professional lives, and our academic lives. So when we talk about our students and when we talk about how to work on that with our students, we have to take that into consideration. The world has changed. It's a world that, first of all, it's highly technological, right? But what happened with technology? Technology opened the doors to everything, opened the doors to the world. So not only we are here, but we can also connect with people in Spain, people in Japan, people in Korea, people in India, people in the States, people in the North Pole, people in the South Pole, people in Africa, people everywhere. We can connect to those people, so we are connected to them. Not only we are connected through the technology, right? We are building relations with them, right? But what is the nature of those relationships, and most of all, what is the quality of those relations if we don't have common sense, right? This concern has been going on for years now, especially in the field of education, because we are the ones shaping the minds of the future, right? We are the ones shaping the minds of these kids who are going out in the world, but they know how to use the phone, but they don't know how to say hello, and that's the problem, right? So what happened there? In 2002, the Partnership for 21st Century Learning was created. It's an American organization, mostly formed by educators, lawmakers, and business people who understood that there was this need for a